I talk to a lot of content creators as a video and podcast producer, and over the years, I've started to notice a few common mistakes that creators make when it comes to launching a podcast. Today, I'm sharing the 5 biggest mistakes you can make when starting a podcast and what to do instead. If you're new here, my name is Maribel Smith. On the SquadCast channel, we help you level up your remote recordings so that you can create better podcasts and video content from anywhere in the world. Before I get to the 5 mistakes to avoid when starting a podcast, stop. Take a moment to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss an episode. And if you're subscribed but somehow still missing episodes, make sure to turn on the notification bell. I've been plugged into the podcast space for a while now, and I've started to notice some patterns, good and bad. In this video, I'm sharing 5 of the mistakes that I've seen people make when starting their podcasts. Let's get into it. Mistake number 1 is wasting real estate. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, your podcast takes up space. It has a name, it has cover art, it has show notes. You want to make sure that you're using all of those spaces effectively. Don't use a generic title like Talking with Maribel. Don't put a microphone or headphones in your cover art. We already know that it's a podcast. Don't name your episodes with non-descriptive titles. Do describe what your podcast is about in the title. You can do a keyword search to find out what your listeners are searching for to help inform your decision. Do make sure your cover art reflects the tone of your show and reflects elements of your show. Ask your friends or even community members for their opinion before going live with it. Do think about what makes you want to click on a podcast episode by its title. How do your listeners search for your guests? Is it by their names or by the topics your guests are discussing? Think about those questions as you name your episodes. Mistake number 2, not knowing your target audience. A lot of creators start their podcast because they had a great idea and wanted to see it come to life. That's all well and good, but that means that they're not taking potential audiences into account from the start. People talk about how there's a discovery problem in podcasting, but you can change that by making your show with a specific group of people in mind. Ask yourself, and of course, do some research, who am I making this show for? What are their pain points? Who do they want to hear from? These are all questions that you should not only ask and answer yourself or with your team, but also with your potential audience, or a lookalike audience if possible. Mistake number 3 is not having a budget, even if you have a very basic bare bones one. Do outline your hard costs like microphone, headphones, audio interface, recording software, editing software, hosting cost, transcription software, and whatever else comes to mind that you will need. That way, you'll at least know how much you're investing, and if you're able to secure a sponsor, what you need to charge to make some money. If you've got a little more cash set aside, do start planning out potential ad buys in newsletters, in podcast listening apps, on other podcasts, and in traditional media. Having a breakdown of your advertising spend at least allows you to plan for the future. Let's talk about the 4th mistake people make when starting a podcast: not prioritizing sound quality. We've touched on these concepts in previous videos, so you can make sure to check them out in more detail. For now, just know that we recommend at least a microphone, plug-in headphones, and a remote recording software that uses double-ender recording, yes, like SquadCast FM. Next up, mistake number 5, not making podcast friends. It sounds cheesy, but it's really important to take the time to collaborate with other creators in the space. Your podcast exists within a much larger ecosystem of shows. And because of that, you have the chance to meet and work with other creators. One of the best ways to grow your podcast is to become podcast friends with other hosts and producers. Getting your show in front of someone else's audience is the way to go. And how do you do that? By setting up promo swaps, guest swaps, feed drops, and other things. You can make podcast friends by joining podcast communities on Facebook, Twitter, or attending events. Check out these groups, join them, and reach out to other podcast creators. We'll link to them in the notes below. Okay, those are the 5 mistakes we see people making when starting a podcast, and we made sure to share some info on how to avoid them, aka what to do instead. If you're just getting started, we hope you don't make any of these mistakes. And if you're already well on your way, have no fear. The best thing about podcasting is that you can evolve. You can always change the title of your show, change your cover art, upgrade your titles and show notes. You can even do an audience research study in retrospect or outline a budget mid-season and even upgrade your sound quality at any point. And last but not least, you're always welcome to join our podcast communities. Happy podcasting!